Welcome to my Mythic Fetid guide. Now this fight is a little bit different based on whether you're main tanking or off tanking. Let's just jump in the talents. So as a main tank, you would run Abyssal Strike, Fallout, Flame Crash. I would highly recommend, if you're progressing, to use Feed the Demon. This is definitely better for survival and you are going to get nailed. You'll see me using Fracture because I'm selfish and I hate the playstyle of Feed the Demon. So I play more selfish, and I'm confident in my healers and in myself to stay alive with Fracture. Concentrated Sigils is better. You'll see in the video I'm using Chains because I'm lazy. Spirit Bomb, and then the last talents, I personally prefer Last Resort on this fight. Sword Barrier is good. However, I find that a lot of my deaths proc at the weirdest times, and it's normally because my healer gets knocked away from me. So it's hard for me to predict the incoming damage to pop Soul Barrier. And then Void River is decent for main tank, but again I still prefer Last Resort. Now off tanking. Feed the Demon is basically mandatory for off tanking. I'm sure there's people out there who's done it with Fracture, but I don't recommend it at all. And the only real other change people do is Gluttony. I don't recommend this personally, but I know other people have used it. The idea behind this is when Gluttony procs, you let your demon spikes recharge. So use it like as a way to get your charges back. Personally, I like Spirit Bomb, even off tanking, because the amount you heal with your souls is based on the damage you take within 5 seconds. So if you prep 5 souls with shear, and you get thrashed, you pop a quick Spirit Bomb, and that sucks in all the 5 souls and heals you for the most amount you can heal. And then you go back to thrash it. But people have used Gluttony and have liked it, so that's up to you. Gear wise, for Azurite, I always go highest item level, as long as you have 1 re-origination array. Other traits, if you have the choice, would be stuff like, let me check here. Like Infernal Armor is okay, Gem Hide is awesome, Rigid Carapace is decent, so anything that gives defensive value is really good. And Trinkets wise, I don't use these, but I do recommend them. Use something like Blockades if you need survival. The Trinket of Mithrax is good as well. If you want hybrid trinkets, you run something like Plumage or Gale Colors or the Dice, which I don't have yet. Or if you want DPS, Fathoms, Frenetic, and I don't know where else is out there. So yeah, let's just go ahead and take a look at the guide. Alright, so here we are. How we normally pull this is we start in the middle of the 3 sides, and we use a rogue to put up the shroud so we can position ourselves for the pull. It just makes it a little bit easier since he's patrolling everywhere. You'll notice we have 6 markers, 1 per little cubby hole, and that's just for positioning and knowing where the ads are spawning. We break the groups up into 2 smalls and 1 large. The large group is normally 2 melee due to movement. Warlocks are really good on them as well, but we find those easier not to make our melee run across the map. And then 7 and 6 and 6 per little ad. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this on the main tank here. Make sure you both are marked at all times, so 1, people can see where you are, and 2, you know where each other are, so you can stack up the entire time. So this fight isn't really anything crazy here. Make sure everybody's spread out, because if you overlap these and other people, they get more than 1 stack, and if you get like 2 of the can't think of putrid stuff, can't remember the name of it, and like you'll probably end up dying or soaking a lot of the healer's mana. So we just sit here and we DPS. He used all the thrashes. So as a demon hunter, what you have to do is get the timing down, which you see here on the first stomp. So I see he's casting stomp, so I'm gonna stop casting abilities. And as soon as it goes off, I'm gonna hit glide. It's gonna counteract the knockback. Because if I go too far back, he's gonna follow me and start thrashing other people. And I have a DK off tank. He's gonna pop his, I can't remember the name of it, but it's gonna prevent him from being knocked back. So I know he's not gonna be knocked back, and I'm gonna counter it with glide. And the timing gets a little crazy. You have to make sure there's nobody behind you as well. So what we're looking for is the big ad is the large ad is going to spawn either in one of the two cubby holes, the middle ones. So what we're doing is we're looking for where the first trash disposal is coming down, and we know that's where the big ad is going to be. So here it is, the first stuff coming down. This is the big ad. So we're going to wait into his first breath, and then just position ourselves to our back to that.
Beware.
Alright, so we're going to tell everybody we're coming through so they know to move. And we're going to position over here. Actually, we're going to end up waiting because the melee are on the way. Now we're going to position ourselves. What we want to do that for is we're going to want to get knocked back with the next stomp right into position. And then we have two other ads spawning, and we have the DPS assigned to those. So, a tip for this, if you're progressing, can't even speak tonight. You want, as soon as you see that the disposal is coming down, your DPS has to move and get into position ASAP. This will be nerfed next week, I believe. So the ads will have 10% less HP, but yeah. So here, I know that my healer might be away from me. So I used Fiery Brand on pull, and I know if I do that, it's going to be coming right back up for this part. So I want to get Demon Spikes and Fiery Brand up on the boss. And as soon as I do, I switch over and I start hitting the ad. Because these ads need to die. If one ad doesn't die, it's a guaranteed wipe. So I just keep up Demon Spikes, and I just DPS this ad as much as I can.
4, 3.
So he runs up to eat an ad, but it dies before he can, and we're all going to switch and kill this big one.
Beware.
And honestly, this is like the entire fight.
Beware.
So this knockback, I have to make sure nobody's going to get knocked into me with a debuff. If the tanks get the debuff, it's not guaranteed a wipe, but it's going to get really rough. So at this point, I know that we need to get out of this cubby hole. So I say, alright, tanks are moving so the melee can get out of our way. We're going to walk out together. And we're going to go right back to the middle. The idea is if the trash disposal starts coming down here for the next big ad and we're there, we're going to get the debuff. And as you saw, it spawned there. If we stayed there, we would have been screwed.
Beware.
So the knockback, time the glide, just like that.
Beware.
When he does his breath, we're going to position ourselves to over where the big ad's going to be. The second big ad will spawn prior to the knockback. So we're just going to walk over. The knockback should be coming soon. This is where we use our second potions.
Beware.
Use medic because I was getting way too low for way too long. So we're gonna kill this big ad.
3, 2, 1.
And the boss should be approaching 50% soon. I think it's during the next ad. Or right before the next ad. Alright, so the big ad's dead. We're gonna tell melee and be vocal about it. We're moving out so they can move out of our way. Knockback, good. Kind of a bad timing glide, but it was good enough. And here's 50%. So now he's going to be doing 50%, no, 25% more damage. So you want to try to keep up Demon Spikes as much as you can. This is where Feed the Demon comes into play.
Four, 3, 2, 1. Beware.
Oh, by the way, some people don't bring the boss over to the ad. If you have crazy high DPS, you don't have to. But it's a lot easier if you do, especially for short DPS.
Beware.
Alright, so my tank got knocked back. I have to wait for him to get over here so nobody gets thrashed. We're just going to DPS this ad down. I might proc Last Resort here, I can't remember. At this point, I know that there's only one person dead, and if this ad dies, we win. Well, we should win at least.
Beware.
Alright, so the ad's dead, so basically I'm going to tell the melee to move, and we're coming back through. Oh. Yeah, they just got thrashed.
Beware.
So now it's all about, I tell my healers, make sure the tanks don't die. Once the tanks don't die, we win.
Beware.
Brosco just got 8 because of the knockback. Yeah, there's the last resort. So when these ads spawn, you just ignore them. Either the boss dies or you do.
4, 3, 2.
And there it is. It's really, honestly, it's probably one of the harder fights to re-clear because one person can wipe the entire raid quite easily. One ad doesn't die, it's a wipe. One person trails crap and everybody else, it's a wipe. So a very frustrating fight. Not hard, just frustrating. So yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.